how he personally received the mercy, right, of Nityananda Prabhu. And we were discussing this maybe on Saturday, how you see this, it's very beautiful to see how there's always a personal element, like with our gurus, they will present very high siddhanta, right? They will present very fine philosophical conclusions, right? But then usually there's a little bit in the end where they'll put their own personal feeling or personal experience, right? Like you also see in our songs. At the end, generally, Narottam or Bhakti Vinod, they're signing their name, right? Adding that personal prayer. And so also in Chaitanya Charitamrita is very, very high literature, very philosophically, very high. But it's also very sweet at the same time. And Kaviraj Goswami is, interspersed throughout the text. He's telling his own story, telling his own experience, and telling how he struggles, actually, right? Sometimes he's describing how he can barely write because he's so aged and can't barely see, can barely write, and he's afraid he could leave his body at any moment, right? So he's also sharing his personal struggle, and I feel like this is actually an element of Vaishnavism that it makes it very complete, because there's also this verse in the Manu Samhita I think about sometimes that Gurudev would quote, and it's describing the 4 ways by which the truth can be ascertained, or by which Dharma by which one can know what is Dharma or what is one's own Dharma. And it mentions these points, vidvadbhi, sevita sadbhir, nityam advesha ragibhi, hridyayena bhyanugyato, yo dharmastam nibodhataha. That, how can you know what is Dharma, what is the true path, the true way, your real duty, and so on. That which is told in the scripture, that which is also verified by the saint, the living scripture, that which is free from any individual bias, any prejudice. But then lastly, hridyayena bhyanugyato. What is known to your own heart? What is known to your own heart? So I find that very beautiful and a very complete conception, where the scripture is actually giving space to your own feeling, right?
What does that mean, known to your own heart?
Means what your own inner heart, your inner conscience tells you. So like
Guru Maharaj says, the soul knows its own soil.
Mm-hmm.
You know that one? Yeah, the soul knows its own soil. Like a intuitive soul.
Exactly, intuition.
Yeah,
one's own intuition.
Right. Oh,
yeah.
wow.
So how beautiful is that?
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. And the Manu Samhita, it's one of those texts which is, quite honored in a wide way, like is one of the principal Hindu texts. The Varnashrama system is discussed there. So but this, this text is so clearly making that point, right? We honor the feeling you have in your own heart, right? That's also a part of religion, right? But then of course the idea is that you check that against, because the problem is our hearts are not in a pure condition, right? So we can't always be sure. So then we verify, my heart is telling me this. What does the scripture say? What do the Vaishnava saints say? Right? And then we can confirm, then this is something genuine, right? So that is something very, very beautiful.
I remember also that that point that you say, well, can I believe my own heart? I mean, I'm not pure, can I? And then Goma says, like, well, you can trust your own feelings because your own feelings brought you to Krishna consciousness. It brought you, your intuition and your heart brought you to Krishna consciousness. So that is an indication that you can follow your heart. You can trust your heart feelings. Yeah.
I think you sometimes also have to have faith that your faith in what is reality is also true. That you don't want to cheat yourself, you really want the best thing. And that your faith in Krishna consciousness is very well founded, actually. Does that make any sense? You've got to trust that you come to the right thing. And you should have confidence in your faith that you come to the right thing. You're not trying to fool yourself. You're not trying to kid yourself and live in a fool's paradise. You're in a more illusion, you know.
Yeah, so this section of, this particular section is very beautiful. It's probably one of the most touching parts of Chaitanya Charitamrita. You've just gone past it, you just went through it, where Kaviraj Goswami's, and it's an interesting contrast, because as I said, he's giving this very high, very technical Siddhanta. And then in the end, he makes this big shift, where he says, let me tell you how I personally received the mercy of that great personality. And then he's, and a little shyly, then he's telling his own story in a very beautiful way. And he also mentions, I'm a little shy to say, and some people might say I'm arrogant for broadcasting how I've received so much mercy. Like, I got the mercy, Normally the Vaishnavas are shy, right, to tell what greatness they've come in contact with. But then he makes this point, and Gurudev also pointed this out. He said, if I don't say, then I am ungrateful. Kritagna, there's this one word he uses. I'm ungrateful. So I have to say. I'm shy to say, it's not proper for me to say. But at the same time, I have to say. Because if I don't say how much mercy I've received from my Guru, then I'm ungrateful. Right? So it is my duty to do. And then he gives very beautiful description how Nityananda came to him in a dream, right, and gave him that instruction to go to Vrindavan and saying. And then there's that. Then those verses, those famous verses are here also. That Jagai Madai Hoite Muise Papista, right? Or heart-wrenching expressions of humility. Right? I'm more sinful than Jagai and Madai. I'm lower than a worm and stool. Right? More Nam Shuna Jay. Like, if you hear my name, you'll lose all your piety. If you speak my name, you'll be ruined. Very extreme, painful expressions of humility that you hear from Kaviraj Goswami. And then he says, how could, he's saying it so people can understand that, I'm not being arrogant. It's not by my own qualification. This is the point, he says. It's not by my own qualification that I could receive the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu. But, how does that go? Uttam Adam Kichunakade Vichar. That's it. Preme Mata Nityananda Kripa Avatar Uttam Adam Kichunakade Vichar. That Nityananda Prabhu, he's the embodiment of mercy, and he's intoxicated by divine love, right? So he's so intoxicated, he's not considering who is high, who is low. Whoever falls in front of him, he's giving mercy to them, right? So this is how he adjusts it and maintains his Vaishnava humility. So that part has just been passed, it looks like. And there's a few more verses to this chapter, so we can finish that. And then so here in these very last verses, Kaviraj Goswami is like describing everything that he received. Like, by the grace of Nityananda, I came in connection with Radha and Krishna, Vrindavan, like that. So that's what he's describing here. Okay, I'm going to go back just a little bit. Rupa, Sanatan, right? Came in connection with Rupa and Sanatan. I'm going to pick up here. Nityananda doyamode tade jakailo Shridhara madana mohane Prabhu kori dilo. The mercy of Lord Nityananda showed me Shri Madana Mohan and gave me Shri Madana Mohan as my Lord and Master. Odame dilo Shri Govinda Darashan Kohiba katana akatya katan. He granted to one as low as me the sight of Lord Govinda. Words cannot describe this, nor is it fit to be disclosed. Vrindavane jogapite kalpataduvane ratna mandatahe ratna simhasane Shri Govinda bosiachen brajendra nandan madhurja prakashi kodin jagat mohan. On an altar made of gems in the principal temple of Vrindavan, amidst a forest of desire trees, Lord Govinda, the son of the king of Braja, sits upon a throne of gems and manifests his full glory and sweetness, thus enchanting the entire world. Brahmaparshve Shiradika Saki Gana Sangye Rasadika Lila Prabhu Kore Kotorange. By his left side is Srimati Radharani and her personal friends. With them, Lord Govinda enjoys the Rasa Lila and many other pastimes. Tardya Nijaloke Kore Padmasan Ashtadashak Charmante Kore Upasan. Lord Brahma, sitting on his lotus seat in his own abode, always meditates on him and worships him with the mantra consisting of 18 syllables. So this is one of the Gayatri mantras, right, mentioned in Brahma Samhita. Chodabhuvane jar sabe kore dhyan, Vaikuntadi pore jar lila gunagan. Everyone in the 14 worlds meditates upon him, and all the denizens of Vaikuntha sing of his qualities and pastimes. Jar madhurite kode Lakshmi akarshan, Rupa gosai kode achan serupa varnan. The goddess of fortune is attracted by his sweetness, which Srila Rupa Goswami has described in this way. Oh, now this is a very beautiful verse of Rupa Goswami, which Gurudev liked very much. This is a warning. You remember this verse? It's a warning from Rupa Goswami. You have a chance to back out. Be careful. Because once you move towards Krishna, it's all over. It's all over.
What's the text? For chapter 5, text. What's the text?
Are you following there? Oh, sorry, I went back. This is 224. 224. 224.
If you look at that blue-black...
Yes. Yeah.
Were you saying it's all over?
Yeah, well, he's kind of giving a warning. Like, are you sure you really want in with this?
All right.
Because if you...
Krishna will take the whole thing.
Yeah, he's going to destroy everything else. It's not like you can coexist in both worlds.
He takes one who takes everything away.
Yeah.
Kesava, when we're there in Vrindavan, is saying, like the Bhakti Yoga Institute, I think, if you want to hang on to any of your attachment, don't go down to Keshigat.
Yeah, it's this verse, yeah.
Make sure you know what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. So we've been warned. We can't say we weren't warned.
Happily.
Yeah, we'll be happily captured.
It's all his anyway.
What did you say?
It's all his anyway.
That's what it comes down to, right? That's what it comes down to.
We have to acquiesce to being objects for the subject. You know? That's really... But we thereby thrive. We're better off being a servant than attempting to be a master. It's a dream. Reality is beautiful, or more beautiful than the dream.
Yes. Reality, the beautiful. Okay, so this is the verse. Smeram bangi chaya padichittam sachi vistirna drishtim vamshi nyasta dada kishalayam ujvalam chandrakena. Spider here. Hello?
Spider?
One of my glasses.
Oh.
Govinda kyam haritanu mita keshi tirto pakante la prekshistastava jadi sak bandhu sange stiranga. My dear friend, if you are indeed attached to your worldly friends, do not look at the smiling face of Lord Govinda. Do not look. My dear friend, if you are indeed attached to your worldly friends, do not look at the smiling face of Lord Govinda as he stands on the bank of the Jamuna at Keshigat. Casting side... Oh, so you went there with Keshavananda.
Yeah, well, you were there as well, yeah.
I don't think I went that day, actually.
It was the pilgrimage last year.
Yeah, but I missed 1 or 2 days.
Oh, right,
yeah.
okay.
Casting sidelong glances, he places his flute to his lips, which seem like newly blossomed twigs. His transcendental body, bending in 3 places, appears very bright in the moonlight. Very beautiful.
It's like long glances.
Sakshat Brajendra Sutta Itanahiyan Jevagya Kore Tare Pratimahe no Gyan. Without a doubt, he is directly the son of the king of Braja. Only a fool considers him a statue. Seya paradeta nahiko nishtar Gornara kete pode ki boli boar. For that offense he cannot be liberated. Rather, he will fall into a terrible, hellish condition. What more should I say? Heno je Govinda Prabhu paino jaha hoite taha charana kripa ke pade vanite. Therefore, who can describe the mercy of the lotus feet of him, Lord Nityananda, by whom I have attained the shelter of this Lord Govinda? Vrindavane Vaise Jata Vaishnav Mandal Krishna Nam Padayan Padama Mangal. All the groups of Vaishnavas who live in Vrindavan are absorbed in chanting the all-auspicious name of Krishna. Jar Pranadan Nityananda Shri Chaitanya Radha Krishna Bhakti Vina Nahi Jane Anya. Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda are their life and soul. They do not know anything but devotional service to Shri Shri Radha Krishna. Se Vaishnava Padadenu Tar Padachaya Pada Meredilo Prabhu Nityananda Daya. The dust and shade of the lotus feet of the Vaishnavas have been granted to this fallen soul by the mercy of Lord Nityananda. Taha sarva labhyo, it's a very beautiful line. The dust and shade of the lotus feet of the Vaishnavas have been granted to this fallen soul by the mercy of Lord Nityananda. So by the mercy of Nitya, in other words, he's saying, by the mercy of Nityananda, I've received the mercy of so many others, right? This is the nature of the Vaishnavas. They are so conscious, right? So conscious and so appreciative, right? So much appreciation for everything, every connection. They're appreciating. Taha sarva labhya hoye prabhur vachan se suchaye tar koilo vivadan. Lord Nityananda said, in Vrindavan, all things are possible. So when on that occasion when he had this dream, right, and when he's still in Bengal, and Nityananda appeared to him, and then he concluded by saying, there's this beautiful, the dream ended with this line, it's very, very sweet. Nityananda told him, it's Ade Ade Krishna Das, Na Karoho Boy, Vrindavana Jaha, Taha, Sarva Labhya Hoy. Oh Krishna Das, don't be afraid. Go to Vrindavan, you will get everything there. And so here he's repeating that again. Taha Sarva Labhya Hoy. You will get so what does everything mean? Right? Well, now he's describing here, right, the mercy of the Vaishnava's connection with Radha, Krishna, Vrindavan. All of this has been possible by the grace of Nityananda. And of course, this is also very significant in a broader sense, right? Because this is also one of the examples of how, for all of us, the mercy of Nityananda, who's also representing the Adi Guru, right, the original Guru. It is the foundation of our spiritual life. It is everything. And so we see in a number of prominent cases in Chaitanya Charitamrita, everything begins with receiving the mercy of Nityananda. Right? We see in the case of Kaviraj Goswami himself, who's the author. Right? We see in the case of Raghunath Das Goswami, also very, very clear. And
Didi, can you explain why Srila Guru Maharaj then, in his last days, he all the time chanted Daya.
That's right, yeah. He's also showing us, right? He's also showing us this is the way, right? The mercy of Nityananda Prabhu. This is the way for us.
It's like the gateway of mercy. We have Jai and Vijay, but actually without the grace of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, we can't get. And that was illustrated when one of the Goswamis was ordered to make a feast, and then he was transported for Nityananda Prabhu and his followers.
That's right, that was Raghunath Das Goswami,
yeah,
yes.
And then he was given the mercy. So he pleased Lord Nityananda Prabhu, and then was granted, the mercy of Mahaprabhu,
Yes.
So it's the gateway,
So my question is, for the beginning devotees that we know, we entrance via Lord Nityananda gives us the Guru, and then we get Mahaprabhu's mercy, and Mahaprabhu's gives us Radha and Krishna. But that did Guru Maharaj say it for us as a beginning, or was it for himself that even in his later pastimes he was glorifying Lord Nityananda so much?
Well, I think in these cases it's always there's a twofold aspect to it. So I would say both sides are true, that on the one hand, in his own humility, he's feeling, I need to take shelter of Nityananda. That's his own sincere Vaishnava feeling. But then on the other hand, and I also heard Gurudev explain it like this, he's showing us too, right? He's showing us too, this is the way. He's showing us an example, right? And Gurudev also mentioned that similarly in the case of Mahaprabhu himself, right? That, how he has these very extreme expressions, na prema gandosti drapi me haro, right? Where he's saying, I don't even have a fragrance of Krishna prema, right? So that's his own inner feeling, right? And his own, inner dynamic, exploring the depths, right, of the heart of Srimati Radharani, and the mood of the devotee. But he's also teaching us something at the same time, right? That one who's actually contacting that divine substance will feel that they don't have it, right? That's the symptom. So I would say both cases are true. And for those who aren't familiar, Sachi Didi is referring to the fact that we heard from Srila Govinda Maharaj that in his last days, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he wouldn't take his japa. But and we've heard that before he was chanting japa all the time, right? Jai. We hear that his beads were black because he was chanting so much. He was always on his japa. But then in his last years, the last period, I don't know how long exactly, he would refuse his japa. And we hear sometimes if he was showing sickness, then one of his servitors would bring his japa mala. Oh, Guru Maharaj, maybe you can get some relief from taking the holy name. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj would say, no, give my mala to Govinda Maharaj. And my only hope is Dayal Nitai. My only hope is Dayal Nitai. And he would chant Dayal Nitai. Very. And Gurudev talked about that, right? And he said, some devotees were puzzled, because everyone knows how exalted is Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and his godbrothers know his position. Saraswati Thakur indicated his position, right? When Saraswati Thakur is leaving this world, then he indicated, the position of Srila Sridhar Maharaj. In Gurudev's words, as Rupa Goswami's man, right? He's Rupa Goswami's man. Very, very fine, very fine conception, and exclusively in the mood of Madhura Rasa, right? And so then it was very surprising, right, that Srila Sridhar Maharaj would put so much emphasis on Nityananda Prabhu, right, in that sense. But that was his feeling of humility, right, that I'm not qualified for these higher levels. And you also hear in some of the recordings in his talks, if Srila Sridhar Maharaj went to some very high topic, then he would say sometimes, oh, now we must take the name of Nityananda Prabhu in case we have made any offense, right? We must take shelter of Nityananda, and may we thereby be reinstated in our former position. Something like that,
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
For example, with chanting the holy name, then we try to concentrate, but sometimes the mind goes somewhere. And can you say, for giving your excuses, right? Or you asked, like in your meditation, like Nitai, Dayal Nitai, for your, like distraction of just the mind goes a little bit somewhere else, and then can you say then Dayal Nitai or Nitai, like to correct?
Oh, yeah. I would say we want to continue with chanting our japa, right? We don't want to imitate. But yes, we can also pray for Nityananda Prabhu's mercy, of course. Yeah, of course.
Specifically when the mind just wonders and you want to give your apologies or something. Or you want to,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, maybe when we're chanting japa, then we're chanting the Maha Mantra, right? But before or after, like we are starting with the Panchatattva, right? Always when we chant, then. Yeah. Because also, things can get complicated because there's consideration of rasas, right? So yeah, I would say that maybe before or after you chant japa, something like that.
Because I heard the Panchatattva mantra is for rectifying actually that, and you do that. Well, I do it always when I go to the big beat, and then I say again the Panchatattva mantra, and then start around again. Again the Panchatattva mantra.
Right. Let's see, maybe we'll finish here. There's just a few more verses left. So Lord Nityananda said, in Vrindavan all things are possible. Here I have explained his brief statement in detail. Se sab paino ami Vrindavanahai, se sab labhye prabhur kripai. I have attained all this by coming to Vrindavan, and this was made possible by the mercy of Lord Nityananda. Apanar kataliki nilaja hoya, Nityananda guneleka unmata kodiya. I have described my own story without reservations. The attributes of Lord Nityananda, making me like a madman, forced me to write these things. So what's motivating me is not my own ego, right? But it's the glories of Nityananda Prabhu, right? They're making me forget everything else, right? So, yeah, without nirlajja, I'm telling this without shame, actually. That here the translation says without reservations, but actually in the word for word it's saying being shameless. This lajja means like shyness or shame, and so nirlajja, without shame, without shyness, I'm telling my story. So please understand, not for my own ego, but it is simply that the glories of Nityananda are so great. Right? And I'm reminded there's a similar expression. It's in that song about Saraswati Thakur. And in the end, the Vaishnava concludes saying, your glories have turned me into a veena, right? Like a veena that just wants to play your glories, like that. Nityananda Prabhu Guna Mahima Par Sahasravadana Shesh Nahi Pai Jar. The glories of Lord Nityananda's transcendental attributes are unfathomable. Even Lord Shesh, with his thousands of mouths, cannot find their limit. Shri Rupa Raghunath Pade Jaraj Chaitanya Charitamrita Kohe Krishna Das. Praying at the lotus feet of Shri Rup and Shri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy. I, Krishna Das, narrate Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. Can I see that kirtan guide? I just want to look that song up. Thank you. Pages are stuck here. Here we are. Tava guna, thank you. Tava guna vina dari mor kanta vina dori avashita bora. Your qualities, like an expert musician, take hold of the vina of my voice and make me speak, devoid of any power over myself. Very beautiful. So similar expression here, right? Your qualities are so great that they're taking over, right? And I cannot help but speak those glories, right? So that's the end of Adi Lila chapter 5. Okay, and then the next chapter. So these first 13 chapters of Chaitanya Charitamrita. They're kind of setting the conceptual superstructure, you could say, framework of Chaitanya Charitamrita. So it's dealing with a lot of ontology, Siddhanta, and so this 6th chapter, and they're going through the first 12 or so verses of Chaitanya Charitamrita are then the following chapters are elaborating upon these initial 13 or so verses. And so there were several verses in these initial 14 verses. There's a few on Nityananda Prabhu, right? And then later on in this 5th chapter, those verses are elaborated upon. Right? Then there's also a verse about Advaita Acharya. And this chapter 6 is glorifying Advaita Acharya. Like that. So now this next chapter is on Advaita Acharya. Okay, well, maybe we'll stop there, huh? We can continue tomorrow morning. Any last comments from anyone, or questions, or anything? Jai Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Shri Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami ki jai. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jadavaya Namaha.
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 Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudana.
Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudana.
Nadi Gopinatha Madana Mohan.
Girinari Gopinatha Madana Mohan.
Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra.
Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra.
Radhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunatha.
Jai Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunatha.
Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath.
Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath.
Jai Gosai Kodi Charana Vandana.
Jai Gosai Kori Charana Vandana.
Raha Hoite Vignanahan Abhishta Puran.
Yaho Hoite Vignana Savishta Puran.
Jai Gosai Jai Muita Dadasa.
Jai Gosai Janamoni Chanega.
Pansabada Padadenu Mura Panchagra.
Sansavara Pararenu Mora Panchaga.
Tajara Charana Serbi Bhakta Sanebhas.
Sangaracharana Sri Bhakti Sanebhas.
Janame Janame More Abhilash.
Janame
Radha Krishna Nitya Leela Kodila Prakash.
Krishna Nitya Leela Kodila Prakash.
Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan.
Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan.
Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majai Aman.
Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majai Aman.
Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Padma Kodi Hasta.
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 Hari Nam Sankirtan Kohe Narottama Das. Hari Nam Sankirtan Kohe Narottama Das.
Hari Nam Sankirtan Kohe Narottama Das.
Hari Nam Sankirtan Kohe Narottama Das.
Hari Nam Sankirtan Kohe Narottama Das.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Rama Rama
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Rama
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. Jai Shri Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Radha Giridhari Ji Ki Jai Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Samagata Gaur Bhakta Ki Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Shakti Didi ki jai.
All good.
We have to keep our eye on the calendar because we're in this month of Hari Smaran now.
Yeah.
Let's see what's next.
I don't know how to work it, Tiki. That's why I wanted to get what was the